Spiritual awakening is a profound and transformative phenomenon, uniquely experienced by each individual. Imagine a process where, gradually, you begin to view life from an entirely new perspective, as if a veil has been lifted from your eyes. Superficial concerns and attachment to societal roles begin to lose their significance, and something deeper within you starts to emerge. This process is the essence of spiritual awakening. Though each person's experience of awakening is unique, there are common patterns that can be observed in nearly all spiritual journeys. Throughout this guide, we will explore these 5 shared stages in detail. The goal is to provide a clear and simple understanding of what each phase entails, so that you may reflect on where you are in your own journey. However, before we begin exploring these stages, it's important to understand that spiritual awakening is not a linear process. You may revisit stages, feel rapid advancement in some areas, and slower progress in others. Each person walks this path in their own time, and this is part of the beauty of the journey. There is no definitive endpoint to spiritual awakening. It is a continuous journey of constant evolution, where new layers are always waiting to be uncovered. Spiritual awakening does not necessarily mean you must withdraw from the material world or live in isolation. Rather, it involves an inner transformation. You begin to see yourself and the world around you in a different light. Things that once seemed important, status, material success, the opinions of others, start to lose their weight, while self-knowledge, inner peace, and connection with the universe take center stage. It is common for spiritual awakening to begin with a sense of dissatisfaction. Often, there is a kind of emptiness, or a feeling that something is missing. While outwardly everything may appear normal, inwardly you sense a deeper need. This something more is actually the connection to your spiritual essence, which is trying to manifest. Throughout this guide, we will explore in detail the 5 main stages that mark the process of spiritual awakening. Unconsciousness, death of the ego, the quest, emergence of the authentic self, and life in alignment. In each of these stages, there are important lessons that bring us closer to who we truly are. In the following chapters, you will have the opportunity to identify where you stand in your journey and understand the challenges and rewards of each stage. I hope this will help you navigate your path with greater clarity and purpose. Now, let us begin with the first stage of this spiritual journey: unconsciousness. Stage 1. Unconsciousness. Chosen one, you are about to understand the beginning of your spiritual journey, the first stage that almost all of us pass through without even realizing, the state of unconsciousness. In this state, many people spend most of their lives trapped in a cycle of automatism and instinctive reactions, completely guided by the ego. The ego is that part of us that creates a false sense of identity based on past experiences, fears, and limiting beliefs. It protects us, or so we think, but in reality, it distances us from our true essence. When you are unconscious, life unfolds without your full awareness of what is happening within you. Everything seems like a reflection of external circumstances, and you automatically respond to them without questioning the origins of your emotions and thoughts. It's as if you're living on autopilot, chosen one. There is no space for reflection, and your decision-making power is clouded. In this stage, the ego governs your reactions. You may think that your emotions and thoughts are who you truly are, but this is an illusion. If you are angry, you believe you are anger. If you are sad, you confuse yourself with that sadness, as if it were your essence. There is no distinction between your deep self and your temporary emotional states. We believe we are victims of life's circumstances, rather than co-creators of our reality. This is the trap of unconsciousness. When you, chosen one, find yourself in this state, your vision of the world is distorted. Everything you see, feel, and experience is filtered through your perceptions and emotions, which are often laden with fear, guilt, or resentment. You might interpret a simple critique as total rejection, taking everything personally and exacerbating the emotions deeply rooted in your ego. This state of unconsciousness creates a profound disconnection from yourself, from others, and from the universe around you. This feeling of emptiness often leads people to try to fill that internal void with external things: relationships, shopping, addictions, fleeting distractions. But, chosen one, the truth is that none of these offer lasting peace or fulfillment. This is because the emptiness you feel cannot be filled with external elements. It is a reflection of internal disconnection, a lack of alignment with your authentic self. The state of unconsciousness can last for years, decades, or even a lifetime. Many people never come to realize they are living on autopilot. And this, chosen one, is tragic. They remain trapped in the grip of the ego, repeating the same patterns without realizing there is a way out, a path to a fuller and more conscious life. However, for some, something awakens. A spark of light emerges in the midst of the darkness. Sometimes, this awakening is triggered by a traumatic event, a loss, or a crisis that shakes the ego's world. It may be the loss of a loved one, a sudden change in life circumstances, or even a moment of unexpected clarity. Something makes you, chosen one, begin to question your beliefs, your attitudes, and the very way you've been living. Suddenly, you realize that you are trapped in repetitive patterns, that your life has been following an automatic cycle, and that perhaps there is another way to see and live reality. This is the spark of spiritual awakening. It is the point where you, chosen one, begin to question yourself, and in doing so, open the door to self-knowledge. This is the first step in breaking free from unconsciousness. But of course, breaking free from this state is not easy. It involves looking inward and confronting parts of yourself that you may have avoided for a long time. As you awaken, you realize you are caught in cycles of negativity, guilt, or resentment. But you don't know exactly how to break free from these patterns. This is where your true journey begins. Chosen one. It is the beginning of the process of healing and self-discovery. You begin to understand that, to live consciously, you must let go of the unconscious patterns that have governed you for so long. This is a profound and transformative journey, but it requires courage, patience, and, above all, compassion for yourself. The path of awakening lies before you. It asks you to embrace uncertainty, challenge the ego, and begin to walk the path of consciousness. You, chosen one, have the power to transform your life and live in alignment with your true essence. From this moment forward, you begin to see beyond the illusion of the ego and access a deeper level of being, a level of presence and truth. Stage 2. Death of the Ego. Chosen one, as you enter the second stage of your spiritual journey, you begin to experience what is known as the death of the ego. This is one of the most challenging, yet liberating phases you will encounter on your path to awakening. But what is the death of the ego, chosen one? It does not mean that the ego disappears completely or that you lose your identity. The ego will still be present in your life, but with a new function and a different role. The death of the ego is the process through which you begin to recognize that the ego, that part of you that built its identity on memories, beliefs, labels, and past experiences, is not your true self. The ego is a mask, a mental construction we use to interact with the world, but it is not your essence. Up until this point, you may have believed you were the ego. your thoughts, your emotions, your name, your profession, your appearance, all of these form the image of who you thought you were. However, upon reaching this stage, chosen one, a deconstruction begins to occur. Suddenly, you realize that these things are superficial. They may be part of you, but they do not define your true essence. The realization that the ego is just a small part of your experience can be both unsettling and frightening. Why? Because throughout your life, you may have identified with these things. You believed you were your achievements, your failures, your fears, and your desires. And now, in the face of the death of the ego, all of this begins to feel superficial and irrelevant. The loss of identification with the ego can create a sense of emptiness. It's as if the ground beneath your feet is vanishing, and everything that once seemed stable and secure begins to crumble. This emptiness, however, chosen one, is a necessary part of the transformation process. The ego does not disappear without a fight. It was created to protect you, to help you navigate the world and survive. For this reason, the ego resists disappearing because it fears the unknown. It tries to convince you that without it, you will be lost, disoriented, without value. This struggle can manifest in various forms: emotional crises, periods of depression, mental confusion, fear. The ego clings to labels, to social roles, to repetitive thought patterns because it believes these things are what guarantee its survival and acceptance. And, chosen one, this is where you will face one of the greatest tests of your spiritual journey: resisting the temptation to return to the illusory comfort of the ego. This struggle is natural and necessary, for it is through this process that you begin to detach from the false identities you have carried for so long. However, as you continue to explore this deconstruction of the ego, something wonderful begins to happen. Gradually, a new perception of self starts to emerge. This self is not shaped by labels, fears, or external expectations. This self is a silent presence, a deep awareness that observes without judgment. This is your true self, the inner observer that has always been there but was obscured by the noise of the ego. This new presence that begins to emerge is not concerned with status, social expectations, or fleeting emotions. It is serene, constant, and connected to something much greater. It's as if you are awakening to a new level of existence where inner peace becomes more important than anything else. As the ego loses its grip, you begin to feel more clarity, more authenticity, and more peace. Chosen one, this process of the death of the ego is both a detachment and a rebirth. The old self, the self conditioned and controlled by the ego, starts to fade. And in its place, the true self, the one that has always been waiting to emerge, begins to take shape. This is a spiritual rebirth, a chance to reconnect with the pure essence of your being. But remember, chosen one, the death of the ego does not mean that you will never have problems or challenges again. The ego will still be present, and at times it may attempt to regain control. However, now you will have the ability to observe it from a distance, without identifying with it. You will be able to see your own patterns, thoughts, and emotions with greater clarity, without being consumed by them. The death of the ego, then, opens the door to a new level of consciousness. You begin to realize that behind the chaos of the mind and emotions, there is a deep and constant peace. This is the true state of being. Now that the ego begins to dissolve, you are ready for the next stage of your journey. Chosen one, the stage of the quest, where the thirst for knowledge and the discovery of your inner truth begin to bloom. Stage 3. The quest, chosen one, now that you have transcended the death of the ego and started to detach from limiting identifications, The spiritual journey leads you to a new phase, one filled with challenges and profound discoveries. The phase of the quest. Here, an insatiable thirst for answers emerges from within you, and the pursuit of understanding begins to guide your steps. This phase is like a call, an irresistible impulse that compels you to question everything that once seemed certain and stable. The fundamental questions of existence now become your priority. Who am I truly? What is the purpose of life? What is reality? What is God? These questions start to shape your quest and simultaneously become your anchor in a sea of uncertainties. However, chosen one, understand that this phase is not merely an intellectual search. It goes far beyond that. The desire to find answers is not simply a mental pursuit. It is a deep need of the soul, a spiritual calling that urges you to reconnect with the essence of your being and the universal truth. During this phase, you may feel a strong urge to seek knowledge from every possible source. Spiritual books, lectures, videos, and even meetings with spiritual guides become part of your daily life. You immerse yourself in practices such as meditation, yoga, contemplation, and prayer, hoping to find something greater than yourself, something that explains the missing pieces of life's puzzle. This quest may lead you to explore various spiritual traditions, ancient or modern philosophies, in search of a meaning that resonates deeply with you. However, the quest, chosen one, is not linear and does not always provide immediate answers. Often, the answers you find only generate more questions. This is the paradox of the spiritual quest. The more you discover, the more you realize how much there is to learn. This phase also brings with it great vulnerability. As you search for answers, you inevitably begin to challenge your oldest and most deeply held beliefs. This can be uncomfortable, as the quest involves deconstructing much of what you believed to be true for so long. Old concepts of right and wrong, good and evil, and how the universe works are put to the test. You begin to realize that many of the beliefs you accepted without question may no longer be valid for the new understanding that is emerging within you. During this process, you may feel lost, as if you are navigating unknown territory without clear maps or compasses. The path may seem unclear, and the answers you find do not always provide the immediate relief you seek. Instead, they often lead to new questions, as if the quest were an infinite journey of discovery. It is at this moment that spiritual practice becomes crucial. Chosen one, it is important that you do not lose yourself in the confusion of the mind and the whirlwind of emotions that this phase can provoke. Tools such as meditation become powerful allies, allowing you to quiet the mind and create the space for true answers to arise from within, rather than being sought outside. Meditation, introspection, and the regular practice of connecting with your inner self are keys to maintaining balance during this intense quest. It is here that you begin to realize that the wisdom you seek is not just found in books or the words of spiritual masters. Although these resources can be valuable, the true wisdom, the one that truly transforms, lies within you. The connection with the divine, with your higher self, begins to emerge as an undeniable truth. You begin to understand that while you searched for answers outside yourself, the true essence of what you were seeking was already present within you, waiting to be recognized. However, this realization may not come immediately. The quest is a long and multifaceted phase that often requires patience and perseverance. The challenges of this phase can lead to moments of frustration, where it seems like you are going in circles without making real progress. But know, chosen one, that every question that arises, every temporary answer you find, is an essential piece in the path of your awakening. Even in moments of confusion, the journey is advancing. Over time, the quest begins to bring clarity. The answers that were once hazy start to make more sense. You become more aware that what you are truly seeking is not something external. It is the inner truth that has always been present, but obscured by the ego and illusions. The true discovery is that you are part of the whole, and that the divine is intrinsically connected to your being. In time, this phase of the quest leads you to a new revelation, the realization that what you have been seeking, the truth, the purpose, and the connection with the divine, has been within you from the beginning. Now, with this realization, something deeper begins to unfold: the emergence of your authentic self. The quest has prepared you for this. You have become more conscious, more aligned with the essence of life. And from this point on, your true self, the one that was hidden beneath layers of illusion, begins to reveal itself. Chosen one, know that this phase of the quest is both a journey outward and inward. It leads you to explore the depths of your soul, to challenge your beliefs, and to open yourself to new ways of seeing and understanding the world. And in doing so, you are paving the way for the emergence of your true self, the one that is not bound by labels or expectations, but is free to live authentically and aligned with your highest purpose. Stage 4. Emergence of the authentic self. Chosen one, after traversing the phase of the quest, your spiritual journey now progresses to a new and transformative stage: the emergence of the authentic self. This is one of the most pivotal moments in your spiritual evolution. Now that the illusions of the ego have been dismantled and the deep questions of the quest have begun to be answered, the true self begins to emerge. It is as if the mask you wore for so long, to meet societal expectations, to fit into the roles imposed by the world, starts to fall away. And what arises is your true essence, the purest and most authentic version of who you truly are. This phase is crucial, chosen one, for here you begin to recognize that many of the things you believed to be fundamental to your identity were, in fact, external constructs. You realize that you spent much time trying to please others, conforming to the expectations imposed by family, friends, and society at large. Now, these pretenses and societal conventions lose their meaning. You can no longer mold yourself to fit these standards that once seemed so important. The quest for external validation gives way to a burning need to live in accordance with your inner truth. In this stage, discomfort starts to grow whenever you try to continue living in a way that no longer resonates with your true self. You may feel that the masks you once wore for protection have now become suffocating. The need to please others or to fit into social molds begins to disappear, and in its place, a deep desire to live in alignment with your essence arises. Chosen one, this change can be both liberating and challenging. The emergence of the authentic self often brings about significant changes in your external life. You may realize that certain careers, relationships, or lifestyles that once seemed secure and normal no longer make sense to you. What once felt fulfilling now seems empty and disconnected. This is a period of transition, where the familiar begins to be left behind, and the unknown becomes an invitation to your growth. It is common, during this process, to feel drawn to make bold choices that more honestly reflect who you truly are. This may mean changing careers, distancing yourself from toxic relationships, or even completely transforming your lifestyle. However, these changes, no matter how daunting they may seem, are guided by an inner certainty. You know, chosen one, that these changes are necessary for you to live fully and authentically. It is as if a force within you is pushing you to align with your true purpose. And it's not just external changes that occur. The emergence of the authentic self also triggers profound inner transformations. Over the years, perhaps decades, you have accumulated emotional wounds, traumas, and blockages that were until now hidden or repressed. Now, these wounds begin to surface, bringing with them an intense process of healing. The emotions you may have suppressed for a long time, fear, sadness, anger, frustration, can manifest powerfully. But this is necessary for these blocked energies to be released. This emotional purification process is a fundamental part of the emergence of the authentic self. As these energies are released, you begin to feel lighter, freer, and more at peace with yourself. The wounds that once defined you start to dissolve, and the true self, the one that is beyond the limitations of the past, begins to flourish. It is as if you are shedding the layers of protection and fear that once obscured your inner light, and now, finally, you can shine in all your authenticity. Chosen one, it is important to remember that this process can be emotionally intense, and at times you may feel as if you are on an emotional roller coaster. There will be days of euphoria and clarity, followed by moments of doubt and insecurity. This is normal. Spiritual transformation is rarely a linear path. However, every step you take toward your authenticity is a step toward a more aligned, truer, and freer life. The emergence of the authentic self is not just a phase of detaching from the past. It is also a phase of embracing the new. What once seemed uncertain and frightening now begins to be seen as an opportunity to embrace who you truly are. As the old identities dissolve, the space for your true self to flourish expands. And with that, you begin to experience a new way of living, a lighter, more connected, and more peaceful way of being. Chosen one, know that this phase of the journey is not about perfection. The authentic self does not demand perfection, but rather the acceptance of your true nature, with all its complexities, imperfections, and wonders. When you live in alignment with your authentic self, you begin to realize that life is not about meeting external expectations, but about honoring your inner truth. This alignment creates a sense of harmony, where you feel more connected to yourself, to others, and to the universe around you. As you progress through this phase, you open yourself to a life of greater authenticity, freedom, and compassion. The journey is not yet complete, chosen one, but you have already come a long way. Now that the authentic self is beginning to emerge, you are more prepared to live in full alignment with your essence, and the next step of your journey will be to integrate this new way of being into all aspects of your life. Stage 5. Life in Alignment. Chosen one, you have arrived at the final stage of the spiritual journey, life in alignment. This is a stage of deep integration, where all parts of your being, mind, body, and spirit, harmonize, and you begin to live according to your inner truth. Here, it is not about achieving unattainable perfection or living in a constant state of enlightenment. Instead, living in alignment means being in tune with who you truly are, fully accepting yourself and recognizing your connection with the universe. When you live in alignment, every aspect of your life, your choices, actions, words, and even your thoughts, reflects the authenticity of your being. This does not mean you will no longer face challenges or difficulties, but it does mean that when challenges arise, you will be able to face them with balance, clarity, and a deep inner peace. Alignment is not about the absence of problems, but about how you choose to respond to them. From this point on your journey, your reactions are no longer governed by the ego or automatic impulses. They are guided by an inner compass of authenticity and truth. Life in alignment brings a sense of peace, chosen one, a peace that comes from living true to yourself. When you are in harmony with your essence, your actions flow naturally, without effort. What once seemed difficult or contradictory now feels right and harmonious. You realize that life does not need to be a constant struggle, but can be lived with grace and lightness, even in the midst of challenges. One of the most important aspects of this phase is the development of deep compassion for yourself. Chosen one, you have gone through so much to get here. You have faced the illusions of the ego, navigated through the confusion of the quest, and emerged as your authentic self. Now, you begin to recognize that although you have limitations and imperfections, this does not make you any less worthy. On the contrary, your imperfections are part of your unique journey, part of the human being that you are. The acceptance of your flaws is not a sign of weakness, but a reflection of your evolution. By forgiving and accepting yourself completely, you create space for others to do the same. This self-compassion, chosen one, naturally extends to your relationships with others. Now that you see yourself with more clarity and acceptance, you also begin to see others in a different light. The limitations, flaws, and struggles of those around you no longer provoke frustration or judgment. Instead, you approach them with empathy and understanding, recognizing that they too are on their own journeys. The willingness to forgive, both yourself and others, becomes a central quality of your life in alignment. Your relationships become more authentic, deeper, and filled with love and compassion. Life in alignment also involves a profound sense of interconnectedness with the natural world. You, chosen one, begin to realize that you are not separate from the universe, but are part of a greater whole. Nature, the trees, the flowers, the animals, the stars in the sky. All of this now becomes a constant reminder that you are connected to the universal fabric. You begin to feel a sense of belonging, not only with people, but with the world around you. The small wonders of daily life, like the sound of the wind in the trees or the warmth of the sun, become symbols of this connection. You come to live with a renewed respect for the earth and for all the beings that share this space with you. This connection to the whole, chosen one, is not something you simply understand intellectually. You feel it deeply. The sense of separation that once was so prevalent now begins to dissolve, giving way to a sense of unity and harmony. You realize that everything in life is interconnected, and that each of your actions affects the world around you. This deep understanding leads you to act with more awareness and responsibility, not only toward yourself, but also toward others and the planet. Chosen one, living in alignment is more than just being at peace with yourself. It is about living in harmony with the universe. When you are in alignment, everything in your life begins to flow more naturally. Your actions, your words, and your thoughts reflect this harmony, and you start to realize that although life can be unpredictable, you have the capacity to live with purpose, confidence, and balance. This phase is not a final destination, but a continuous state of being. Alignment does not mean that you will never face challenges again, but it does mean that when they arise, you will be able to navigate them with the wisdom and clarity you have developed throughout your journey. The inner balance you have achieved allows you to face life's highs and lows without straying from your path or losing your essence. This is life in alignment, chosen one, a life lived in harmony with your inner truth and with the world around you. Every choice you make is a reflection of your authentic self, and this authenticity becomes the foundation for everything you do. You are now at a place where your spiritual journey does not end, but continues to unfold in ever-deepening ways. With each new day, you will have the opportunity to live with more truth, more love, and more connection. Chosen one, your spiritual journey has brought you here. And life in alignment is a celebration of that journey. Continue to live according to your truth, continue to honor your essence, and continue to connect with the universe in an authentic and wholehearted way. From here, every step you take will be guided by your inner wisdom and your profound connection to everything around you. Spiritual awakening is an ongoing journey without a fixed final destination. It is a constant exploration of the self, life, and the universe. Each of us is at a unique point on this journey, and there is no rush or timeline. The important thing is to allow yourself to experience each stage with honesty and openness. Spiritual awakening is not a race, nor should it be seen as something that is achieved in a linear way. Some people may revisit certain stages multiple times throughout their lives, while others may experience unexpected leaps from one phase to another. Regardless of where you are, it is essential to remember that each stage has its value and purpose. If you have identified with any of the stages described, it may be helpful to reflect on what this means for your current life. Ask yourself, what changes have you already begun to notice? What is your inner self trying to communicate? Which aspects of your life are still deeply tied to the ego? And where have you already begun to live more authentically? This journey is a constant invitation to introspection and self-discovery. As you walk through these stages, allow yourself to be kind to yourself. Awakening can be challenging, but it is also incredibly rewarding, as it brings us closer to the essence of who we truly are. Now that you have a clearer understanding of the 5 stages of spiritual awakening, we would love to hear about your experience. Where are you on your journey? Share your reflections and stories in the comments below. By doing so, you not only connect with others who may be going through a similar process, but also contribute to building a community of support and shared experiences. Thank you for being part of this space of exploration and learning. If this content resonated with you, consider sharing it with others who may also benefit from this wisdom. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and activate notifications so that you can continue this